A lot of people say that I'm too young for prostate cancer.
If you don't deal with it, then you should fear it.
My dad was 48 years old and he died by suicide.
A man doesn't talk about this.
This is a Wood TV special presentation, Close Cut Conversation. Now, here's Community Affairs Director, Casey Jones.
Thanks for joining us. What does it mean to be a man? That's a question that's been debated on city streets, in households, and probably even in caves for the last 100,000 years. But what's not debatable is that men face gender-specific health issues. During our special, we're going to hear the health journeys of 4 men who bravely shared their personal experiences. Were there signs or symptoms? What were the treatments? And is there any preventability? We'll also give you actionable steps you can take to help prioritize your health right now. Feeling good on the outside is something that men like to do. That's evident in the routine haircut, something they've been doing here at the Henchman House in Grand Rapids for the last 3 years, making sure that men feel great on the outside. But it's what's inside that often gets neglected. Threats that are treatable if caught, but far too often fall victim to the silence of men. Mental health. Men account for more than 3.5 times the number of suicides compared to women. Nearly 90% of suicide victims had a diagnosable mental illness. Prostate cancer. 1 in 7 in West Michigan will be diagnosed in their lifetime. Survival odds increase dramatically if caught early. Diabetes. It's the 6th leading cause of death for men. Left untreated, it contributes to a long list of other health problems. But we begin by pushing past the walls that men typically put up and start at the core, the #1 killer of men, heart disease. 1 in 4 men's deaths this year will be by heart disease. Helping us get to the heart of it is Tommy Rodriguez, the owner of Henchman House, putting our 4 men in his chair for a close-cut conversation about men's health.
So, what's your story?
So, December 4th, 2019, I died. I was out in Holland that day, and I'm coming back on 84th Street / Byron Avenue. When I pulled up to the stoplight in Byron Center, I put it into park. I had the window down. The lady 2 cars behind, she came up to me and she checked my pulse, and I didn't have a pulse. The fire captain, which was less than a block away, was leaving at that time, pulled up behind all of the commotion going on. They pulled me out, put me on the grass. She did chest compressions, and then he got the defibrillator, which the crazy thing is they had received this defibrillator 2 days prior to this happening. They shocked me, and then within 6 minutes, they had to shock me again. They had to put me in medical coma, a medically induced coma. So
Incredible.
yeah.
Well, do you feel lucky?
Yeah, I feel incredibly lucky, and blessed as well, but very incredibly lucky because, yeah, I've got a lot to live for.
Do you think there's anything you could have done to prevent that day from happening?
Wow. I don't know if all guys are like it, but I know that a lot of guys, they just like, we don't need doctors, we don't want to go to the doctor, they're anti-doctor. So to be honest, if I was going to a doctor, normal care, having normal checkups, that's possible that I might have been able to avoid it. Mm-hmm. What I have is, it's called cardiomyopathy, and it's a weakening of the heart or heart muscles. And basically my heart, instead of being a muscle that's, fully contracting, mine was contracting about 15%. I mean, I'm a miracle. So there's nothing short of the fact that I'm a miracle, because I fully recovered. And again, I think there's 3% of the people that survive what I went through. I mean, men's heart health is I guess I was educated because it's a thing, it's a real thing.
Let me hand you the mirror here. So, John, how do you feel?
look good, feeling good. Yeah, I honestly feel incredibly blessed.
Coming up.
So how dangerous is it for you to not manage your diabetes?
Well, if you don't have control of it, it can kill you.
How unmanaged diabetes pushed one man to the edge of death. Plus, what actionable steps you can take to prioritize yourself when we return. Welcome back to our Men's Health Special. We just heard about the importance of heart health and making sure that your doctor is a regular part of your routine. In America, men account for 52% of all diabetes cases. Remarkably, 4 million men are living with diabetes and don't even know it. Even more are not managing the diabetes they have. As we hear now, not controlling your sugar is life or death.
So, what's your story?
Well, I was 49 and a month away from my 50th birthday. My life changed. So I was playing ball down at the YMCA and I hit the game-winning jumper. I went to the side and I went down. And it took 13 minutes for them to revive me and take me to the hospital.
You went down like out.
Like out.
No kidding.
7 days later, I woke up in the hospital. So I was in a coma for 7 days.
7 full days.
I don't remember anything. I just knew one thing, that my wife was by my side the whole time. By the grace of God, I survived. And after they woke me up, I had to have a quadruple bypass.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
And all along, I realized I was diabetic. We were trying to get control of my diabetes at the time of the heart attack. And didn't really know how bad it was. My cardiologist told me, hey, I think you probably had diabetes for a lot longer than you knew. And I didn't really have any true symptoms that I was aware of at the time.
So how dangerous is it for you to not manage your diabetes?
Well, if you don't have control of it, it can kill you. I mean, because high blood sugars are not good for you. But if I had a choice between the two, I'd rather have a high than a low, because a low, you can actually go into a diabetic coma. This is an insulin pump.
You have an actual pump on you today?
Which you wear the pump on your body. It connects to your body and you control it, and you have your settings for your body. And if your blood sugar goes up to a certain point, it'll give you more insulin to help to counteract the blood sugar rise.
I see.
You know, when you're young, you think you're invincible, you know, and we need to know when we're younger if the things that affect us when we get older. Sometimes it runs in the African American family, but we don't always realize the importance of knowing our history, because the history that we have, it affects you.
So why do you think that is? Why is it that people in your culture and people of color and African Americans don't really take care of the signs ahead of time or look into them?
I think a lot of it is the past, and people fear sometimes going to the doctor. If you don't deal with it, then you should fear it, because there are, you know, amputations, you can lose a foot, you can lose a leg. I'm going to speak to some African Americans who have a tendency to be afraid of these things. There's no need to be afraid. That's what the doctors are for. And you have the faith in God to get you to the right doctors.
Well, here we are, young sir.
Thank you.
The question is now, how do you feel?
I feel great. I feel great. I feel blessed to be alive. Like I said, I have a lovely wife that helped me through all the things that I went through in my health journey. And I'm here today to talk about it.
Still to come, we take these health journeys to a doctor from the University of Michigan Health West to find out what you can do at home to prioritize your own health journey. But first,
People is suffering with this situation and they don't say nothing.
how a persistent wife helped get a husband's burning sensation a prostate cancer diagnosis, and how catching it early could have saved his life. We're back now to our Men's Health Special Close Cut conversation, and we're turning our attention to a male-only issue, prostate cancer. 1 in 7 in West Michigan will be diagnosed in their lifetime. The average age is 66. It's the second leading cause of cancer death for men in America. But if you catch it early, your chances of surviving increase dramatically. It's an area that men tend to shy away from. Talking to someone about it, as we hear now, can be the easiest first step.
So, what's your story?
You tell me. Well, I'm 54 years old, and one day I was with my wife, you know, at night, and then I noticed something, that I had some, you know, like a burns, but I stayed quiet. I never told my wife because I felt like, you know, embarrassed or something. Then this happens like for 2 months, and after that, I decided to tell her, and she said, you need to go to the doctor. I got the labs, and the levels were high on the results. So I didn't know what it was, so I thought it was like infection or something. And the doctor said, so we need to do a biopsy. And I said, what does that mean? So I don't know what is a biopsy. So when the doctor called me and said, you have cancer, it was like everything stopped, and you know, I had so many plans, and I was thinking about my kids and my wife, and I said, cancer, you know, I heard a lot of cancer people die, but never thought about me. You know, it's tough.
I imagine.
Yeah.
That's incredibly tough. I really appreciate you sharing your story.
There's something that a man, you know, doesn't talk about this. And I think it's because it's about sex. And we should talk about this, you know, be open. So I bet you that a lot of people are suffering with this situation, and they don't say nothing until it's too late.
Alejandro, as Hispanic men, why don't you think we seek the treatment we need to when we need to?
You know, I think it's the culture. If something happened to us, they give us something. Mom does. So we come from culture that we don't see the doctors. I don't like to see the doctors either, but I should.
I don't like the doctors that much either.
No.
But I should.
I should.
So, Alejandro, how do you feel?
You know, tell me. I think I gotta talk to my son. I gotta talk to my son and tell him how I feel, you know, because I'm not very open sometimes. But I feel with a lot of hope. I think I'm gonna be okay.
Alejandro was diagnosed in May. He is cancer-free now, but he says he is anxious to see his next PSA check, which will happen in December. Next, mental health. We talk suicide and depression, silent killers of men, how this man's loss
My dad was 48 years old and he died by suicide.
has given him the tools to pass down healthy habits to his son. Welcome back. It's time to talk mental health. As important as physical health when you consider that suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in America, and men account for 80% of all of them. So why don't we talk about how we feel? Is it stigma, shame, a lack of resources, Or is it a learned behavior? For our next journey, he's making sure what he experienced with his dad ends before his son.
So, Brad, what's your story?
So for me, and I guess my family too, everything really started on this in February of 2015. So I was 23, but my dad was 48 years old and he died by suicide. We had no idea he was suffering with anything or that anything was even wrong. So, you know, getting that call was a total shock. And my dad, just kind of the way he operated, is he was kind of like Superman. I mean, all of his clients relied on him. My family relied on him. So many friends relied on him for everything, helping him make decisions. And if there was ever a problem, Don would come to the rescue and Don would fix it. You know, he even said in the letter that he left that he said, quote, "I went too fast for too long." And, you know, whatever he was running from or whatever was going on, he just thought that he could keep going and, you know, work more, earn more, buy more things, whatever, and, you know, keep running away from it. I think the biggest takeaway of what happened with my dad that we learned is that, you know, mental health, depression, suicide, etc., they don't discriminate. I mean, you can be top of the world, have a million friends, have virtually unlimited resources and have everything you want and a wife and kids and a house on a lake and kind of everything that everyone thinks they want, but still be struggling. On the flip side, you can be, you know, making a really modest living and kind of just barely making ends meet, but you can be okay mentally, and there's that.
So, Brad, how was your relationship with your dad?
It was good. I have one email from him that I saved when I was actually working at the same place when he passed away, so he must have sent it within a few months or a year before he passed, but he just said, "Hey, just want you to know that I'm really proud of you." And I'm extremely grateful that he told me that. I really wish he would have just told me that if anything was different or if anything was wrong or if he ever contemplated, you know, suicide or anything, or even struggled with anything mentally, I wish that he would have been comfortable enough to bring that up and then have us help him get help or talk through it.
Were there signs you may have saw or didn't recognize back then?
I'll never forget, there was one day, it was in the evening because I was home from work, and my dad just called me out of the blue to chat. And he said, you know, work and all that stuff and money, et cetera, is really important, but I just can't wait to meet your kids who will be my grandkids someday and hold them and just let them say goo goo gaga. I was like, holy smokes, like, Dad's not talking about work, he's actually talking about life in retrospect. I would have said, Dad, I can't wait for you to meet my grandkids either, but you know, that's kind of off the beaten path for you. What's going on? Is everything okay? Or what's got you thinking differently? Because something I've learned, especially in my work in mental health advocacy since he passed, is that, you know, people kind of have a certain kind of an MO or a way of operating. And if they change, or if you notice something that's different, it usually opens up a door maybe to have a conversation and say, hey, you know, what's going on? So I don't know if I told you or not, Tommy, but my wife and I just had our first kid was born, our son, about 2 months ago. One of the first thoughts after he was born is like, thank God he's okay. And it's like, he's never going to meet his grandpa. And at some point, my wife and I are going to have this conversation with him. I don't know how old he'll be or what, you know, what stage it'll be, but we'll have to explain to him kind of what happened and, you know, what he can do, what we can do to try to make sure that doesn't happen to any of us or anybody else we love. But, you know, everything I think now or decide or choose or how I act is going to reflect on him in some way, shape, or form. So, you know, trying to do the right thing is a lot more amplified when you're doing it for a next generation who looks up to you and who relies on you and everything.
So how do you feel?
I feel, you know, good that I was able to share my story, and I hope that it helps other people, and just looking forward to trying to do the best I can for my own son as well.
Before we go, a conversation with Dr. Ken Dode, a primary care physician, sports medicine at the University of Michigan Health West in Cedar Springs. Dr. Dode, something that I found interesting there that Brad said at the end of his journey was he wants to be more emotionally accessible for his son and his wife to make sure that he can break the cycle of passing down poor health habits. And I thought that was a recurring theme that we saw from all four of our journeys throughout this special, is the inheritance of some poor health habits and not knowing what to do or who to turn to. If I'm a male out there, what can I do to foster a healthy conversation with a younger generation of men to make sure that there's an importance in knowing that you're okay?
The simple answer is you have to talk about it. It doesn't have to be a big formal conversation. Over a beer, over a bonfire are fine. Knowing that eventually you're going to need to see a physician. Everyone is going to need to see a physician. My grandpa bought a Mustang in 1966, brand new. I inherited that. If I told you that all I've done is drive it and put gas in it for the last 40 years, you wouldn't believe me. I haven't. There's a lot of things that you need to do. They're not major things. Check the air pressure, change the oil, those kind of things. Our bodies are the same way. As we get older, there's a few things that we need to do so that we can find the problems early, fix them, correct them, and not have major issues down the road.
Dr. Doe, thank you so much. I want to thank you as well to the 4 men who shared their health journeys, to the Henchman House and Tommy Rodriguez. And I want to invite you to woodtv.com right now for an extended conversation with Dr. Doe. We're going to go over these 4 health journeys. We'll talk about some big takeaways and give you some actionable steps you can take right now